Hello, welcome to today's episode. We made it to January, and this week I know that so many of you are either enjoying purchasing and consuming January sales, or you are participating in January sales and offers and products and all of those things. I love this time of year because, well, there's a renewed energy that's kind of flying off the coattails of Christmas and New Year, where there is a lot of kind of buzz around shopping and consumerism. And I think in terms of people that look to the economy, and for those of us in business, we do kind of look to this week to see how things are moving and how buying behaviours are changing and how things are shifting. And it can be really quite interesting to see the data of that. So that's exciting. I wanted to talk about January sales because for quite a few of our listeners, you're going to go into this week and realize that you didn't arrange anything before Christmas, and that lots of people do. Oh yeah, January sale. Lots of people are doing January sales, and you might feel the need to scrabble something together, and you might want to throw something out there. And I want to lovingly challenge the psychology of that, and so that you can make an informed decision and educated choice, and whatever you decide, there is absolutely no wrong answer. So the first thing that you need to know about January sale is that in retail specifically, which is where a lot of these consumerism behaviours come from, your normal high street trader that is now built into the digital sphere, of course, as we now have more internet stores and we're used to doing business online more and more and more every single year. But the essential kind of backbone of this is a retail calendar. Now, a few years ago, I created a very cheap downloadable PDF that I think is still available on Etsy today, which is the consumerism kind of retail calendar that all of these things fall within. And it gives you an understanding of when you should be considering your products and services and offers in regards to January sale, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Easter, summer savings, Halloween, Black Friday, Christmas, yada, 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 right? And it just gives you a framework to work upon in case you've never had the experience level of being in retail, but also especially if you've never had the experience level of being in the type of retail that has a luxury demand rather than a daily demand, okay? Obviously, luxury demand for a lot of the people who are business to business, we might not be luxury demand, we might be daily demand, but depending on budgets and depending on people's mindsets, we might not be, it's not as easy to go and buy yourself a social media manager as it might be to go out and buy yourself a pint of milk. Like, you need the pint of milk for your coffee. You do need the social media manager for your social and your business, but it doesn't feel like it has the same demand and need. So there are certain elements that you do need to consider about the consumerism framework, depending on what it is that you offer and who it is that you serve, of course. That being said, when it comes to January sale, the idea from a retail point of view, which, like I say, is the origin of a lot of these consumer behaviors, is actually that you move through old stock. The idea is that you get rid of stuff that you're not going to carry into the future of the new year. Okay, so it's an opportunity to clear down. Now, for many of us online providers, we don't look at sales that way because it's very easy for us to switch a product on or off based on whether it is working, whether it is selling, and we're not stuck with surplus actual physical tangible products unless, of course, you have a subscription box model or something like that. Quite a lot of us do not have that heavy product-based stock that we need to move and shift in order to keep the cash flow rolling. That being said, the consumerism and the behavior, the psychological behavior of our buyers during this time is unchanged. That's the environment that they're in, regardless of whether we have that physical stock to move or not. We have got the clientele that are looking and thinking and feeling about the January sale the way that they do, regardless if they're buying a jumper from last year's fashion range or whether they're buying one of your courses. Okay. There are a few rules with sales, and I think a lot of the people in the digital sphere don't really look at this, and you should have a little look at trading standards. It's literally 45 minutes with a cuppa. It's worth a read. But one of the things you do need to know is you can't put something on sale that hasn't been at full price in the UK for 28 days or more. Boom. So if you want to put something in the January sale, you need to make sure that you've sold that thing at full price somewhere for some period of time, okay? And you need to, at least for 28 days a year, have that item at full price. You can't make a brand new thing and immediately put it on sale. What you can do is you can offer discounts for early providers, you can offer bonuses for early adopters, but you have to be careful about the things that you say. Something going on sale has to have been at a different price in order for it to be going on sale. Okay, early bird discount is a different offer. You don't have to worry about that. You know, new adopters, beta tests, they're all completely different things. But just be careful with your language. Be careful you're not accidentally mis-selling because of the consumerism behaviors that you are aware of in retail, but maybe don't know how to apply to your online business. Okay. If you haven't got a January offer and you've got nothing in mind, okay, I want you to check in with yourself over whether you actually do want to create one and where's the motivation in creating one. Because if you think that creating something is going to get you a piece of the pie, or if you have a motivation to earn money because you're feeling a little bit cash stuck, or you might be having cash flow problems, or you might feel like you just want to bring in more, there might be a motivation that, let's be honest, and this is a loving thing, there's no judgment here, but maybe is born out of some degree of desperation of trying to scrabble around and fit something in, then I want you to have a think about that and think about the energy that you're about to dispel and extend for something that might have a very low return, that's something that might be rushed, that might be stressful, that might not work. Give yourself the power to walk away from it if it doesn't work for you, if it doesn't fit for you. Okay, the retailers that do this and the online businesses that do this and do this really well, they will have arranged this months ago. If you're sat thinking, oh God, January sale, I should jump on this and try to do something really quickly because there's a potential of selling some stuff and making some money, you might just be putting yourself in a bit of a difficult situation. You might find that actually ploughing yourself into a project that's later on in the year, even if it's only in a couple of weeks from now, might be more beneficial for you for having a better return than trying to force the quick cash right this second if this wasn't already something on your strategy or your agenda. The other thing is the consumerism waves that we have, the sales seasons and the offers and the holidays and the things that we can use to help us advertise our offerings. They shouldn't be your first understanding. It's great to know about them and be educated about them, but your first understanding for your products and what you're actually putting out should always be your individual strategy. And if you haven't got a strategy for 2025 and you're listening to this today and thinking, well, I really should do that, then this is your loving push that yes, you really should do that. So many of my clients and I had talked about 2025 strategy back in October. We don't leave it until the new year. Obviously, it happens, so don't beat yourself up with that if you haven't, but there is no better time than right now. Think about what you actually want to achieve. Think about your schedule. Think about your life and think about how you can bring together all of the elements that work for you in terms of life and business and how you're going to deliver products, how you're going to create products, what's joyful for you, what collaborations have been in your mind, what do you want to do more of, what do you want to do less of. And this is also a really good time of year to review the things that aren't working in your business. And that might be operational things, it might be people that you're working with, it might be your messaging, it might be your content, it might be even something really simple logistically like the office that you work at or the bank account that you're using or the accountant that you're using or whatever. Review, my darlings. Take this as an opportunity to look down the barrel of a new year that could be refined and be operationally better as well as being better on the surface. Now, if you have joined in January sale and you're aware of it and you know what's happening and things are out and you're kind of watching what's happening, may I lovingly suggest that you don't put all of your weight in terms of your expectation on a January sale, okay? It's meant to be somewhat of a downsell after Christmas. And we talk about this all the time on the podcast, but the Christmas season is 60% of a lot of people's annual turnover. So if you have made some money over Christmas and this is a bit of a downsell period, fantastic. If you haven't and you're trying to recoup something, you're putting yourself in a lot of pressure in a very big bargain bucket tub of consumer behaviour right now. People are looking for 80, 90% off bargain bucket deals in January for lots of different reasons, especially the fact that they probably will have overspent somewhat at Christmas. I think this last Christmas, everybody overspent a little bit more because everybody was trying to feel good. Everybody was trying to have the best possible experience for Christmas because there have been so many hardships through 2024 and the world has had so many drastic changes. The tradition of the festive season hones us in. So people were not scrimping on luxuries this year. They really, really wanted to experience a festive season that made them feel safe, made them feel like home, made them feel like they were recreating memories of childhood and such like. So keep that in mind, okay? Keep that in mind when you're going forward. If you're not watching sales roll in all over the place, do not feel bad about it. Lovingly take a deep breath and step back for me and just measure the data. Because some of the things that we do as business owners doesn't have to result in immediate sales. Some of the things we do results in immediate data and measurement, in information. We deal in information. The more you know about your clients, the more you know about their buying behaviors, the more that you know about whether you are meeting demand or whether the demand is big in this season, whether the demand is low in this season. This is all great information that will inform you for the rest of the year. So rather than putting all of your weight in terms of the financial structure on these types of sales, please consider that there are priceless bits of information and knowledge that can be found here just by allowing something to run and be a bit more casual. Now, one thing I will say is that people are fatigued, and this is across the board. People are starting to feel very fatigued, and we're about to move into the arena of people getting into Blue Monday and all of those types of things, which I'll talk to you about next week. But you have to be aware of that. And sometimes one of the best things you can do is step back. And I mentioned this in my book. It's just a silly anecdote, really, but I always think about it when I think about this kind of energy and this energetic exchange. I went to a drama class with my dear friend Kate when I was a kid, and Jackie Leonard, one of the great actresses in the UK that had been in many soap operas on TV, was running the class. And she had 3 of us up in front of everybody else, and the brief that we were given was that we had to demand the most attention. And Jackie had actually given me her coat because I was cold. And in that moment when they said go, I threw the coat off me and I was dancing around and I was being very big and very loud and actually quite disrespectful to Jackie's coat. And I always still feel a twinge of shame because she mentioned afterwards how badly I treated her coat in that moment. And I really tried to get all of the attention of the eyes of everyone around me. And some people did look at me, but I certainly did not win that particular exercise. And the girl that did win did very little. Whilst everybody else was clowning around, singing, dancing, jumping, whooping, throwing off their jackets and making a fool of themselves in order to get every single bit of attention that was available to them, the girl that won that exercise was sat quietly, miming, making a cup of tea. It was gentle. It was graceful. It was silent. She was there doing her thing as though nobody else existed. And that was what was captivating in that moment. Now remember that this particular sales season is all singing, all dancing circus. So sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is step back and just be, and not try to get in the middle of it all, but just be who you were always going to be anyway, authentically, in some degree of silence. Still show up for your people, of course, but some degree of silence. You don't have to go over the top. Let yourself just step back. Whatever works for you is well. Don't ever let anybody shame you for what you decide. But I hope today's podcast helps you make an informed choice on what's best for you, and for some of the things that you might want to consider in your task list or in your mindset in the next couple of weeks, just making sure that you're setting yourself up for fantastic seasons of your sales in the future for 2025.